When they walked off that ship at 3:07 a.m., my wife didn't see me at first. She was too busy laughing at something Ryan said, his hand resting on the small of her back like it belonged there. That's when I stepped out of the shadows with Maya beside me, 4 cameras positioned at perfect angles, and watched the color drain from Jessica's face in real time. Welcome to Cheating Story Exposed. Real stories, real justice, no sugarcoating, you know what. I notice many of you watching haven't hit that subscribe button yet. Here's the thing, we drop stories like this every single day. Stories about people who got played, got smart, and got even. If you want to see how these situations really end, subscribe now and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. I'm Nathan Cross, 42 years old, and I used to think I had the perfect marriage. That was before the cruise, before Maya's phone call. Before I learned exactly how far people will go when they think you're too stupid to notice. Let me take you back to where this really started. Jessica and I had been married for 11 years. We met at a tech conference in Austin when I was working as a cybersecurity consultant and she was in medical device sales. We had that connection everyone talks about but few people actually find. Late-night conversations, shared ambitions. The kind of partnership where you genuinely like the person you're building a life with. Or so I thought. We'd built a comfortable life in Charlotte. I'd started my own security firm 3 years ago, specializing in corporate digital protection. The business was thriving. Jessica had climbed to regional sales director at her company. We had a beautiful home, traveled regularly, and from the outside, everything looked exactly right. The cruise came up in February. Jessica mentioned it casually over dinner one Wednesday evening. "So Veronica is organizing this girl's trip," she said, pushing her salmon around her plate. 7 days in the Caribbean, leaving from Miami in April. Veronica was her college roommate. They'd stayed close over the years, part of a group of 5 women who'd known each other since undergrad. "That sounds great," I said. "You should absolutely go. You've been working insane hours." She smiled, but something about it didn't quite reach her eyes. "You're sure it's during your birthday week?" "I'm 42, Jess. I think I can handle celebrating a few days late. Go have fun with your friends." She kissed me then, told me I was the best husband in the world. I remember feeling proud of being supportive, proud of our secure relationship where we could spend time apart without insecurity. That pride would taste like ash in my mouth 6 weeks later. The planning happened quickly. Jessica was excited in a way I hadn't seen in months. She bought new clothes, got her hair done, spent hours on video calls with Veronica and the other women. I was happy to see her happy. She left on a Saturday morning in mid-April. I drove her to the airport, helped her with her luggage, kissed her goodbye at departures. "I'll miss you," she said. "Miss you too. Have an amazing time. Send pictures. Phone service is expensive on the ship. I probably won't be online much." "That's fine. Disconnect. Relax. That's the whole point." She hugged me tight, then walked through those sliding doors. I stood there watching until I couldn't see her anymore. The first 2 days were fine. I got sporadic texts, brief updates about boarding, about the ship being beautiful, about the first port. Nothing detailed, but I didn't expect detail. She was on vacation with her friends. Day 3 changed everything. I was in my home office reviewing security protocols for a new client when my phone rang. Unknown number with a 704 area code, local to Charlotte. "Nathan Cross," I answered professionally. "Is this Jessica's husband?" A woman's voice shaking slightly. "Yes, who is this?" "Name is Maya Sullivan. I'm Ryan Sullivan's wife. I think we need to talk." My brain went into analytical mode immediately. Ryan Sullivan. Jessica had mentioned a Ryan a few times over the years, someone from her company, maybe. They'd done a few regional conferences together. "Okay," I said carefully. "What's this about? Are you alone right now? Can you talk privately?" "I'm alone." "Did Jessica tell you her cruise was girls only?" My stomach dropped. "Yes." "Nathan, Ryan is on that ship." I found the booking confirmation in his email this morning. Same cruise line, same dates, same departure port. I stood up from my desk, my hand tightening around the phone. "Are you certain?" "I'm looking at his credit card statement right now. Cruise booking for $2,400, charged March 15th. Then I checked his email. He has a boarding pass. He told me he was in Atlanta for a week-long conference." "Send me everything," I said. "Screenshots, emails, whatever you have." "I'm going to send you my number. We're going to figure out exactly what's happening." "I'm so sorry," she said, her voice breaking. "I thought you should know. You did the right thing. Send me everything." She hung up. 30 seconds later, my phone started receiving images, booking confirmations, credit card charges, an email from Jessica to Ryan with the subject line, "Can't wait for April." I opened that email. 7 days where we don't have to hide. 7 days where we can just be together. I've been counting down the days. See you at the Miami terminal. I love you. Sent March 10th, 6 weeks ago. 5 days before she told me about the girls' trip, I sat back down at my desk, but I wasn't sitting still for long. My mind was already 3 steps ahead, running scenarios, calculating moves. This is what I do professionally. I identify threats, gather intelligence, and neutralize problems before they can cause damage. This was just a different kind of threat. I called Maya back. How long have you suspected? Honestly, I didn't, not until this morning. Ryan's been distant lately, but I thought it was work stress. He travels a lot for his job. I never questioned it. Tell me about Ryan's position at the company. He's a sales director, same company as Jessica, different region. They work together on major accounts sometimes. That tracked with what Jessica had told me. Colleagues, professional relationship, nothing to worry about. Except everything to worry about. Maya, I need you to do something for me. Don't confront him. Don't let him know you know anything. Can you do that? Why not? Because if we're going to handle this, we need to be smart. We need evidence. We need to catch them in a way they can't deny or spin. If you confront him now, they'll just get better at hiding it. Silence on the other end. Then, what are you thinking? The ship makes 5 ports. They left from Miami on Saturday. First port was Cozumel yesterday, which they've already left. Next port is Grand Cayman tomorrow morning. After that, Jamaica, then 2 more stops before returning to Miami. I don't understand. We can board at any port if we book it properly. Cruise lines allow it for emergencies or late joiners. What I'm suggesting is that you and I get on that ship at the next available port and we document everything. We bring cameras, we gather indisputable evidence. And then we confront them together. That's crazy. That's strategic. Right now they think they're safe. They think they have 4 more days to do whatever they want with no consequences. We take that safety away. We show up when they least expect it. We record everything. And we use that evidence to protect ourselves in what comes next. Another long pause. When's the next port? Grand Cayman, tomorrow at 8 a.m. That's not enough time to. It is if we move now. I have contacts who can expedite travel arrangements. I can have us both on flights tonight if you're willing to do this. I don't know you. Why would you help me? Because my wife is cheating on me with your husband, and I'd rather stand next to someone who understands what that feels like than face this alone. Because 2 victims working together are stronger than 2 victims working apart. And because I want this documented so thoroughly that neither of them can ever pretend it didn't happen. I heard her breathing on the other end, making the calculation, weighing the risk. Okay, she said finally. Let's do it. The next 12 hours were a masterclass in logistics. I called in every favor I had. A colleague from my military days worked for a travel company specializing in last-minute arrangements. Another contact worked in maritime law and helped me understand exactly what we could and couldn't do legally. By 6 p.m., Maya and I both had flights to Grand Cayman departing at midnight. We'd arrive at 5 a.m. local time. The ship would dock at 8. We had arranged to board through the cruise line's port join program, a lesser-known option for passengers who need to catch up to a cruise already in progress. It cost me $4,000 in expedited booking fees and last-minute flights. I didn't care. Some things are worth more than money. I packed light. 1 carry-on bag, 2 professional-grade cameras with high-resolution capabilities, a backup battery pack, my laptop with encrypted storage, 2 copies of my marriage certificate. A letter from my attorney. I'd called him that afternoon and explained the situation. He drafted a document outlining my intent to gather evidence of infidelity for divorce proceedings. I also packed the engagement ring I'd given Jessica 11 years ago. I'm not sure why. Maybe I wanted to remember what I'd thought we were building. Maybe I wanted something to hold on to when reality felt too sharp. I met Maya at Charlotte Douglas International Airport at 11 p.m. I recognized her from the photo on Ryan's Instagram, dark hair, mid-30s, wearing jeans and a determined expression that mirrored what I was feeling. Nathan, Maya, thank you for doing this. Thank you for organizing it. I've never done anything like this in my life. Neither have I, but sometimes extraordinary situations require extraordinary responses. We boarded our flight to Miami, then caught a connection to Grand Cayman. Neither of us slept. We spent the flight time reviewing everything we knew, cross-referencing details, planning our approach. When we confront them, I said, we need to stay calm, no shouting, no hysteria, just facts and evidence. We're there to document truth, not to create drama. I don't know if I can stay calm when I see them together. You can, because if you lose control, they'll use it against you. They'll say you're irrational. They'll claim you're overreacting. We don't give them that opening. We stay controlled, we record everything, and we let their own actions speak for themselves. She nodded, absorbing the strategy. We landed in Grand Cayman at 4:47 a.m. The sun was just starting to hint at the horizon, that deep blue-purple of late night giving way to morning. We went through customs quickly. No checked bags made everything faster. A taxi took us to the port. The massive cruise ship was already visible in the distance, making its way toward the dock. It would arrive in just over 3 hours. Arranged for us to board at 8:30 a.m. after the initial port disembarkation rush, but before the ship prepared to leave. We had a 6-hour window while the ship was docked. We found a cafe near the port and ordered coffee neither of us drank. We were running on adrenaline now. What if they see us before we're ready? Maya asked. They won't. Most passengers disembark early to explore the port. Ryan and Jessica will likely do the same. We'll board, find their cabins, set up surveillance positions, and wait for them to return. When they do, we'll be there. How do you know their cabin numbers? I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshot I'd obtained through a contact at the cruise line. Ryan booked cabin 8247. Jessica booked cabin 8244, same deck, 3 doors apart. They didn't even book the same cabin. They're trying to maintain plausible deniability. If anyone asks, they're just colleagues who happen to book the same cruise. Separate cabins suggest nothing inappropriate. But I guarantee they're not sleeping separately. Maya's jaw tightened. Ryan told me he loved me before he left, kissed me goodbye, promised he'd call every night from Atlanta. Jessica told me I was the best husband in the world. This isn't about what we did wrong, Maya. This is about their choices, their deception, their betrayal, and we're going to make sure those choices have consequences. At 7:30 a.m., the ship completed docking. We watched from the cafe as the gangways lowered and passengers began streaming off, eager to explore Grand Cayman. Snorkeling tour, beach clubs, shopping districts. The island was a popular stop. At 8:15 a.m., I spotted them. Ryan came first, tall, probably 6'2", wearing cargo shorts and a resort shirt. He looked exactly like his photos, confident, relaxed, the look of someone who thinks he's gotten away with something. Jessica appeared 30 seconds later, walking separately but clearly coordinating. She wore a sundress I'd never seen before, her hair pulled back in a style she usually saved for special occasions. She was smiling. They didn't touch. Didn't walk together, but their body language told the story. They were together. They headed toward the beach excursion area, joining a group that was clearly preparing for a snorkeling trip. That's them, Maya whispered. That's them. They'll be gone for at least 4 hours. Let's board. We presented our documentation to the crew member at the boarding gangway. She reviewed our late join paperwork, checked our passports, and smiled professionally. Welcome aboard. Your cabins are on deck 6. Will you need assistance with directions? We'll be fine, thank you. We walked up that gangway at exactly 8:27 a.m. The ship felt different than I'd expected, less like a boat, more like a floating hotel. Enormous, opulent, completely surreal given why we were there. Their cabins are on deck 8, I said quietly. We need to scout the area first, understand the layout, identify camera positions. Then we wait. We took the elevator to deck 8. The hallway was quiet. Most passengers were either sleeping off the previous night or already ashore exploring. We walked slowly, counting cabin numbers. 8,244. Jessica's cabin. The door was closed, obviously empty, 3 doors down. 8247. Ryan's cabin, also closed. There's a sitting area with windows at the end of this hallway, I noted. We can position ourselves there with a clear line of sight to both doors. When they return, we'll have advance warning. And then what? Then we knock on whichever door they enter together, and we document everything that happens after that. We set up our surveillance position at 9:00 a.m. I positioned 2 cameras with remote access, one covering Jessica's door, one covering Ryan's, both connected to my phone via encrypted wireless. If either door opened, I'd get an alert and start recording automatically. Maya sat beside me, her phone in her hand, scrolling through old photos of her and Ryan. I didn't tell her to stop. Everyone processes betrayal differently. I opened my laptop and started building the evidence file. Screenshots of emails, credit card statements. The booking confirmations Maya had sent me. Photos of them boarding together that morning. I'd taken several from the cafe. Everything needed to be organized, documented, irrefutable. At 11:00 a.m., I ordered room service to our surveillance position. Sandwiches and water. We needed to stay alert. At 1:30 p.m., my phone buzzed. Motion detected at cabin 8247. I grabbed Maya's arm. They're back. We watched through the camera feed as Ryan approached his cabin door, keycard in hand. 30 seconds later, Jessica appeared from around the corner, looking back once to make sure the hallway was empty. Ryan opened his door. Jessica slipped inside. The door closed behind them. Got it, I said, reviewing the footage. They're in his cabin together. Now we wait 20 minutes. 20 minutes. We want them comfortable. Settled, we want them in a position where they can't claim they were just talking in the hallway. 20 minutes establishes intent. Those 20 minutes felt like hours. Maya was shaking slightly. I kept my breathing even, my mind clear. This was it. The moment everything changed. At 1:53 p.m., exactly 23 minutes after they'd entered the cabin, I stood up. Ready? Maya nodded, standing beside me. We walked down the hallway together. I had one camera in my hand, recording everything. Maya had her phone out, also recording. I knocked on cabin 8247. Silence for a moment. Then Ryan's voice. Who is it? Room service, I said evenly. We didn't order anything. Complimentary champagne from the cruise director, sir. I heard movement inside, whispered voices, then footsteps approaching the door. The door opened. Ryan stood there in swim trunks and nothing else. Behind him, I could see Jessica sitting on the bed, wearing a hotel robe that clearly wasn't hers. Ryan's eyes went wide when he saw me. Then Maya. Then the cameras. Nathan, he started. This isn't... Save it, I said calmly. Jessica, get dressed. Both of you are going to sit down, stay quiet, and let Maya and me explain exactly what happens next. Jessica scrambled off the bed. Nathan, oh my God, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? I'm documenting my wife's affair. Get dressed. Now. The color drained from her face. She looked at Ryan, who looked at Maya, who was staring. At both of them with an expression I'd never seen on another human being. Betrayal mixed with fury, mixed with something like grief. Maya, Ryan tried. Let me explain. Explain. Maya's voice came out sharp. Explain how you've been sleeping with her while lying to my face. Explain how you told me you loved me while planning this. Explain how you threw away 14 years of marriage for this. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Ryan? Because from where I'm standing, with footage of you two walking into this cabin together, it looks exactly like what it is. I positioned my camera to capture both of them clearly. Here's what's going to happen. You're both going to sit down. You're not going to leave this cabin. And you're going to answer every question Maya and I have. If you refuse, this footage goes immediately to your company's HR department, both of our divorce attorneys, and about 50 of your closest friends and family members. Your choice. Jessica was crying now, but I felt nothing. No sympathy, no regret, just cold clarity. They sat down on the edge of the bed. Maya and I stood near the door, cameras positioned, recording everything. How long? I asked. Jessica looked at the floor. Nathan, how long? 8 months, she whispered, 8 months. While I'd been building my business, while I'd been proud of our marriage, while I'd been telling friends how lucky I was to have found someone like her. 8 months of lies. And this cruise was planned how far in advance? Maya asked Ryan. 3 months ago, he admitted. We thought if we booked separately with the girls' trip cover story, no one would question it. Did any of Jessica's friends actually come on this cruise? I asked. Jessica shook her head. They think I'm on a work trip. So every single thing you told me was a lie. I'm sorry. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. I looked at Maya. She was holding herself. Together with visible effort. Ryan, she said quietly, did you ever love me? Maya, of course I love you. Don't you dare. You don't do this to someone you love. You don't lie for 8 months. You don't plan secret vacations. You don't throw everything away for, she gestured at Jessica. For this. It just happened, Ryan tried. Nothing just happens, I said. You made choices, hundreds of choices, every text message, every secret meeting, every lie to your wife and mine, those were choices. And choices have consequences. I pulled out 2 manila envelopes from my bag. These are separation papers drafted by my attorney. Maya's attorney drafted similar documents for her. You're both going to sign them right now on camera. I'm not signing anything without my lawyer, Ryan said. Then I'll upload this footage tonight, your choice. Jessica was sobbing now. Nathan, please, we can work through this. We can go to counseling. Counseling. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Jess, you spent 8 months betraying everything we built. You planned an entire fake vacation to sleep with another woman's husband. You looked me in the eye every single day and lied. There's nothing to work through. There's no marriage left to save. Sign the papers. What if I refuse? Then you'll be explaining to your family, your friends, and your employer exactly why your marriage ended, with video evidence, your call. She took the pen with shaking hands. Ryan looked at Maya. Please, don't do this. You did this, Maya said. You did this the moment you decided she was worth more than 14 years of us. Sign the papers, Ryan. They signed, both of them, on camera, with time stamps, with clear audio of them acknowledging the affairs, the duration, the deception. When it was done, I collected the papers and put them back in my bag. The ship leaves port in 3 hours, I said. You have 2 options. You can stay on this cruise and finish what you started, knowing that everything you do for the next 4 days is being watched by people who now hate you. Or you can disembark here in Grand Cayman, figure out your own way home, and start dealing with the consequences of your choices. Either way, Maya and I are leaving this ship tonight. We'll be gone before dinner, but we'll have everything we need. You can't just leave us here, Jessica said. Watch me. Maya and I walked out of that cabin at 2:47 p.m. We didn't look back. We went to our own cabins, collected our belongings, and disembarked an hour later. I'd already arranged flights back to Charlotte leaving that evening. As we sat in the airport waiting for our flight, Maya turned to me. What happens now? Now we file for divorce. We use the evidence we gathered. We protect our assets. We move forward. Do you think they'll contest it? With that footage, they'd be stupid to try. But people do stupid things. If they want a fight, we'll give them one. But we'll win. She nodded slowly. Thank you for organizing this, for being 3 steps ahead when I was falling apart. You weren't falling apart. You were strategizing. You called me. You gathered evidence. You got on that plane. That's not falling apart. That's being strong enough to face the truth. The divorce proceedings were brutal but brief. Jessica tried to claim the footage was obtained illegally. Her lawyer suggested we'd violated her privacy. My attorney demolished that argument in 15 minutes. We'd been in a public hallway. We'd knocked on a door. We'd recorded 2 people who'd lied about their whereabouts while conducting an extramarital affair, nothing illegal. Just truth. The affair became public within 2 weeks. Not because I wanted it to, because Ryan made the mistake of trying to spin the narrative to his family. He told them Maya had overreacted, that the relationship with Jessica wasn't serious, that his marriage had been failing for years. Maya's sister, who'd been there when Maya cried for 3 days straight after Grand Cayman, wasn't having it. She posted the truth on social media. Someone else shared it. Within 72 hours, everyone in their social circles knew exactly what had happened. Jessica lost her job. Not because of the affair directly, because Ryan was in her reporting chain and the company's ethics policy prohibited relationships between supervisors and their subordinates. She'd been breaking company policy for 8 months. When HR reviewed the timeline, they had no choice but to terminate her. Ryan kept his job but was transferred to a different region, effectively demoted. His career trajectory stalled. His reputation was demolished. My divorce was finalized in September. 6 months after that cruise, Jessica got her personal belongings, her car, and nothing else. I kept the house, our shared investments, and my self-respect. Maya's divorce took slightly longer, but the outcome was similar. She kept her home, her savings, and her dignity. We stayed in touch afterward. Not romantically, neither of us was ready for that, and honestly, the situation was too complicated. But we became friends, real friends, the kind forged through shared trauma and strategic victory. I rebuilt my life piece by piece, focused on my business, took up boxing as a way to channel residual anger into something productive, started therapy to process the betrayal in healthy ways. A year after Grand Cayman, I was having dinner with Maya and her sister at a restaurant in uptown Charlotte when someone recognized me. You're that guy from the cruise thing, right? I looked up. Young man, mid-20s, smiling awkwardly. I am. Dude, that was legendary. My girlfriend showed me the story when it went viral. You handled that perfectly. I handled it the only way I could. Still, respect, man. My girlfriend says if I ever pulled something like that, she'd do exactly what you did. Smart, not emotional. Evidence-based, strategic. He walked away. Maya was smiling. You're famous, she said. I'm documented, I corrected. There's a difference. But the interaction stuck with me, because the truth is I didn't feel legendary. I felt betrayed and angry and disappointed in someone I'd trusted completely. What I did wasn't legendary, it was necessary. 44 now. 2 years past the cruise, 2 years past the betrayal, 2 years into rebuilding, I still run my security firm. Business is better than ever. Turns out people appreciate someone who understands the value of evidence and strategic thinking. I'm dating again, carefully. Learning to trust again, slowly. Building new relationships on foundations of honesty rather than assumptions. Maya got remarried last year. To someone she met at a cybersecurity conference. She'd gone back to school for her master's in information security, inspired by how I'd handled the investigation. Her new husband is a good man, patient. Honest, nothing like Ryan. I attended their wedding. Gave a toast about resilience and second chances. Meant every word. As for Jessica and Ryan, last I heard they tried to make their relationship work after the divorces. It lasted about 4 months before imploding. Turns out relationships built on deception don't have stable foundations. Jessica moved to Denver. Started over with a new job, new city, new life. I hope she's learned from what happened. I hope she's become someone who values honesty. But I'll never know, and I'm okay with that. Ryan still lives in Charlotte, but in a different neighborhood. Maya mentioned seeing him at a grocery store once. He didn't acknowledge her, probably ashamed. He should be. Someone asked me once if I regretted how I handled it. Should I have just confronted them at home? They said. Wouldn't that have been easier? No, because confronting them at home would have given them time to prepare, time to coordinate their stories, time to delete evidence and spin narratives. They would have claimed it was just emotional, that nothing physical happened, that I was overreacting. By showing up on that ship at 3:07 a.m. with Maya and 4 cameras, I took away their ability to lie. I documented truth in a way they couldn't dispute. I gathered evidence that protected me legally, financially, and emotionally. That's not revenge. That's strategy, and strategy is what separates people who get destroyed by betrayal from people who survive it. I learned something important in those 72 hours between Maya's phone call and boarding that ship. When someone betrays you, the worst thing you can do is react emotionally. Scream, cry, beg, give them ammunition to paint you as unstable or irrational. The best thing you can do is get quiet, get smart, get evidence, and then act with precision. That's what I did. And that's why I'm standing here today, 2 years later, with a thriving business, genuine friendships, and a future I built on my own terms. Jessica took that from me for 8 months. But she couldn't take what mattered most, my ability to think clearly under pressure, to protect myself strategically, and to rebuild something better. I think about that moment sometimes. Standing on the Grand Cayman dock at 3:07 a.m., watching that ship come in, knowing what I was about to do. I wasn't scared, I wasn't sad, I was focused, because betrayal only destroys you if you let it. I didn't let it. I documented it, I addressed it, I moved past it, and if there's one thing I want people to understand from this story, it's this. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Don't make excuses. Don't rationalize their behavior. Don't convince yourself it's somehow your fault. Jessica made her choices. Ryan made his. Maya and I made ours. The difference is, our choices were about protecting ourselves and demanding accountability. Their choices were about deception and selfishness. In the end, that difference is everything. Epilogue. 3 lessons I learned. First, trust your instincts, but verify with evidence. Looking back, there were small signs I'd ignored. Jessica being more protective of her phone, mentioning Ryan's name slightly too often, being vague about work events. But I'd talk myself out of suspecting anything because I trusted her. Trust is important, but blind trust is dangerous. If something feels off, investigate. You're not being paranoid, you're being smart. Second, strategic thinking beats emotional reaction. I could have called Jessica the moment Maya told me about Ryan being on that ship. I could have screamed at her over the phone, demanded she come home, made threats. It would have felt good for about 5 minutes. And then I would have lost all my advantages. Instead, I stayed calm. I planned. I gathered allies and evidence. I waited for the perfect moment. And when I acted with precision. That's the difference between feeling powerful and actually being powerful. Third, the best revenge is living well. But documentation helps. People love to say the best revenge is living well, or success is the best revenge. That's true. But you know what makes living well easier? Having ironclad documentation of what happened so your ex-spouse can't drain your bank account in divorce proceedings or claim you abandoned the marriage. Living well is great. Living well with legal protection and financial security is better. I still have the footage from that day, stored on 3 separate encrypted drives backed up in 2 different states. I've never posted it online, never shared it beyond what was legally necessary, but I have it. And Jessica knows I have it. That's its own kind of power, not the power to destroy her. I have no interest in that. But the power to ensure she can never rewrite history, never claim I was the problem. Never pretend our marriage failed for any reason other than her choices. The truth is documented, permanent, undeniable, and there's peace in that. Last month, I was interviewed by a men's support group in Charlotte. They'd heard about my story and wanted me to speak about strategic approaches to handling betrayal. I almost said no. I don't particularly enjoy reliving that period of my life. But then I thought about all the men who go through something similar and don't know how to respond, who react emotionally, who get taken advantage of in divorce proceedings, who lose everything because they didn't document the truth. So I said yes. I stood in front of 47 men ranging from mid-20s to late 60s, and I told them the same thing I'm telling you now. When betrayal happens, and statistically it happens to a lot of people, you have a choice. You can be a victim, or you can be strategic. Victims react. They scream, they beg, they give away their power. Strategic people respond. They think, they plan, they protect themselves. I chose strategy. Maya chose strategy, and 2 years later we're both building lives we're proud of, while the people who betrayed us are still dealing with the consequences of their choices. That's not luck. That's not revenge. That's just accountability. Someone in the support group asked me if I ever felt guilty about what I did. Guilty for what? I asked. For ambushing them, for recording them without permission, for exposing them publicly. I thought about that for a moment. No, I said finally. I don't feel guilty for documenting the truth. I didn't lie, I didn't manipulate, I didn't betray anyone's trust. I simply made visible what they were trying to hide. If they're embarrassed by what I revealed, they should have thought about that before they did it. But you ruined their lives, someone else said. No, they ruined their own lives. I just made sure there were consequences. Because that's the thing people don't understand. Accountability isn't cruelty, it's justice. Jessica and Ryan wanted to have their affair without consequences. They wanted to betray their spouses, lie to everyone around them, and then go back to their normal lives like nothing happened. I made sure that wasn't possible, not out of spite, not out of revenge, but because actions should have consequences. Betrayal should cost something. And people who lie to the people who trust them most should face the reality of what they've done. That's not revenge. That's just the truth catching up. I'm dating someone now. Her name is Claire. She's a forensic accountant, which means she understands evidence-based thinking and the importance of documentation. We met at a professional conference. She knew my story before we even spoke. Apparently, it had made the rounds in her industry as an example of strategic crisis management. You handled that situation perfectly, she told me over coffee at the conference. I handled it the only way I could while protecting myself. Exactly. Most people don't think that way. They react emotionally and lose everything. You thought strategically and came out ahead. I didn't come out ahead, I came out intact. There's a difference. She smiled at that. Fair point. We've been dating for 6 months now, taking it slow, building trust gradually, being honest about our pasts, our fears, our boundaries. She knows I have trust issues. She understands why. She doesn't take it personally when I ask questions or need reassurance, and I know she's been hurt before too. Different circumstances, but the same core wound, trusting someone who didn't deserve it. We're both rebuilding. Both learning, both choosing every day to be vulnerable with each other despite the risk. That's what real relationships look like after betrayal. Not naive trust, not blind faith, but conscious choice, evidence-based trust. Earned credibility. It's harder than what Jessica and I had, but it's more honest. And honest is better, people. Sometimes ask me if I think Jessica regrets what she did. I don't know. I hope so. Not because I want her to suffer, but because regret means growth. It means understanding the weight of your actions. It means becoming a better person than you were. But whether she regrets it or not isn't my concern anymore. My concern is building a life I'm proud of. Surrounding myself with people who value honesty. Running a business that helps others protect themselves. Dating someone who understands that trust is earned, not assumed. Jessica's regret, or lack thereof, is her burden to carry, not mine. I carried enough of her choices for 8 months. I'm done carrying them now. The cameras are still in my closet. Professional-grade equipment, fully functional, ready to go if I ever need them again. Don't think I will. Claire isn't Jessica. And I'm not the man I was 2 years ago, naive enough to think betrayal couldn't happen to me, but I keep them anyway. Not because I expect to be betrayed again, but because they're a reminder that evidence matters, that strategy works. That staying calm under pressure is a skill worth cultivating, and a reminder that when the worst happens, you don't have to collapse, you don't have to break, you don't have to let betrayal define you. You can be strategic. You can gather evidence. You can protect yourself. You can board that ship at 3:07 a.m. with cameras rolling and watch the lies crumble in real time. You can be the person who doesn't just survive betrayal. You can be the person who documents it, addresses it, and moves beyond it stronger than before. That's what I did. That's what Maya did. And that's what anyone facing betrayal can do if they choose strategy over emotion, planning over panic, evidence over assumptions. 2 years later, I'm not the same man who dropped Jessica off at the airport that Saturday morning. More cautious, more strategic, more aware of how easily people can lie when it serves their interests, but I'm also more confident, more resilient, more certain of my own worth, because I learned something critical on that dock in Grand Cayman at 3:07 a.m. The moment you stop being a victim and start being strategic is the moment you take your power back. Jessica and Ryan took 8 months of my life, 8 months of lies and betrayal and deception, but they couldn't take my ability to think clearly, to plan effectively, to protect myself decisively. And in the end, that's what mattered most, not the marriage I lost, not the trust that was broken, not the life I thought I was building, but the strength I found when everything fell apart, the clarity I discovered when lies became visible, the power I reclaimed when I stopped reacting and started strategizing. That's the real story, not the cruise, not the cameras, not even the confrontation. The real story is what happens after betrayal, when you decide who you're going to be in response to someone else's worst choices. I decided to be strategic. I decided to be strong. I decided to document the truth and demand accountability. And 2 years later, I'm standing here with a life I built on honesty, relationships I trust, and a future I control. Jessica can't say the same. Ryan can't say the same, but Maya can. And I can, because we chose strategy over emotion. Evidence over assumptions. Strength over victimhood, and that choice made all the difference. If you're watching this because you've been betrayed, here's what I want you to know: it's not your fault. You didn't cause this. You didn't deserve this. Nothing you did or didn't do justifies someone lying to you, betraying you, or breaking the trust you gave them. But what happens next? That's on you. You can fall apart, or you can get strategic, you can give away your power, or you can document the truth. You can let betrayal define you, or you can use it as fuel to build something better. I chose strategy. It saved my financial future, my mental health, and my self-respect. You can choose it too. Get evidence. Stay calm, protect yourself. And when the time comes to act, act with precision. Don't let anyone rewrite your story. Don't let betrayal destroy what you've built. Document it. Address it. Move past it and build a life so strong, so honest, so fulfilling that the person who betrayed you becomes nothing more than a footnote in your much larger story. That's what I did. That's what you can do too. The ship docks at 3:07 a.m. The cameras are rolling. The truth is waiting. All you have to do is show up. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. We share real stories of betrayal, strategy, and justice every single day. Don't face these situations alone. Learn from others who have been there, stayed strong, and came out ahead. Subscribe now and turn on notifications. You never know when you'll need this information. Drop a comment below. Have you ever had to document someone's betrayal? How did you handle it? Let's build a community of people who choose strategy over emotion. See you in the next one.